That's astonishing. It's absolutely world class. Drama from day one. This is the league we want to watch. Only football can make you feel like this.
I think it's all over. It is now.
What's up, guys? If you thought we were done, psych, we're still here. We're back. Tom had to leave us for a bit, but, we're still here. Still going to be talking about the Premier League, going to be talking about all the amazing football that's been happening that we've missed out. So I just want to say the Premier League is back. I realize this is a week late, but I just wanted to say that live, for the podcast, for all of you to hear it. The Premier League is back, and we are back after 1 week hiatus. That's not really a hiatus, but whatever, you get it. Lots of great football that was played this last week. We're going to talk about, of course, Liverpool, Chelsea. Bale is back. Kane doing his thing, hooking up with Sonny. And, of course, he losing to Crystal Palace. I can't wait to talk about that. I'm so excited.
I'm pumped.
And, of course, a lot of other stuff. But let's get right into it, But before we do that, though, just in case you've forgotten, it's me, Steve-O. We've got Tom and Brato over here. And, we are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. Give us a like, a listen, and also let us know if we suck or if we're great. We'd really appreciate that. So, guys, Liverpool, Chelsea. What do you guys think about that game? Lots of stuff happened there.
Well, we'll just start with Brato.
Yeah, Brato, let us know. Chelsea, man, let us know.
So, I was angry. I still am really angry about that game. I don't understand what kind of tactics we were like last time we played Liverpool. We took it to Liverpool. We attacked them. We pressured them. And now I felt like we really were just we weren't as aggressive in this game, and that bugged me. I know we didn't have Pulisic. I know we didn't have Willian. And, Willian is a great big loss. But we had two new signings. We had Havertz and we had Werner. And Werner is extremely quick. I thought it was breath of fresh air. But I'm very disappointed in tactics, and I think Frank Lampard is to blame for that. Gegenpress, Liverpool is so good with Gegenpress, and before you know it, their whole team is they move so fluidly into defensive.
They were playing a high line.
They were playing a high line, but they're so good with their midfield helping the forward and pressing and controlling the ball and not giving the outlets that we have freaking people we have our defenders back there just diddling around with the freaking ball. What do you do?
Passing across the goal. That's one of the first things I learned. Not only
that, but our midfield was doing nothing. So when our defenders would get under pressure, all they would do is just boot the ball like they should. Last thing they want to do is lose the ball like, we did for the second goal. But at the same point, our midfield was not doing any kind of heavy lifting in order to stay open. And I just thought it was awful strategy by Frank Lampard. They're so good at pressing. Why are you freaking messing around in the back, playing the ball and not playing it so weakly too? And
I think why is he playing 3 CDMs?
I don't get it.
I don't understand. And he's never going to win with that attitude.
Yeah.
Jorginho was awful. Why not pull him out? I get it. We don't have a leader on a pitch other than him. Come on. He was not good. He was just simply not good. And I don't understand why you're playing someone like him against a team like Liverpool who needs a midfield that's fast, who needs midfield that plays the ball quick. He should have really, in my opinion, he should have played Callum Hudson-Odoi instead of Jorginho and move Mason Mount in the middle and switch Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi, because that would have given us more. That would have given us more energy in the midfield. That would have given us someone that's actually willing to go forward, other than Kovacic. And I thought it was just a disaster by Frank Lampard.
I think Liverpool showed Chelsea how to play their game. So this is the second time now in recent games for Chelsea that they've played a high line, and they haven't played it right. And Liverpool showed them how to play against the high line by the red card for Christensen. That's how you play against the high line. If you have both of the wing backs up, you run in between the two center backs because there's space there, because the only people back are the two center backs. And that's what Chelsea should have been doing against Liverpool. Because Liverpool, Trent and, Andy are going to be up. So it's going to be just Fabinho and Virgil van Dijk in the back, or it might be 3 in the back because one of the wing backs is up. And Werner made some runs a couple of times when nobody was looking for him. I saw Werner just looking at the person with the ball, like, hey, I'm going, and he'd go, and nobody would find him. Like
Exactly.
there were 2 or 3 times when man is fast. Like, man is fast. I didn't know he was. I mean, I never watched him before he played in the Premier League.
He's rapid, dude.
Dude, he was going. I was like, dude, if you have someone with that much speed, yes, like have him. I think Mount made a run like that too. There were maybe 2 runs where somebody tried to find him, where they were trying to run him in between the center backs, and then to break that press. And that's because that's what you have to do against the high line, and that's what Mane did, and that's how he got the red card against Christensen. It's like, so Liverpool showed him, hey, this is how you play against the high line. Chelsea still didn't do it, and then when Chelsea was pressing, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna press, but if you move the ball forward, we're just gonna move backwards too. It's like, how are you gonna press if you let them move forward? That's ineffective. When you saw Liverpool pressing, it was 1 blue shirt and 4, like a whole square.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And no blue shirts to be found. So how are you not gonna lose the ball? Are you kidding me? You're totally gonna lose it because you're gonna play a long ball, or you're gonna play to one of the people on red. And that's Chelsea. Like, Chelsea tried to press, but didn't do anything close to that. I was like, yeah, we're gonna stand around you, but if you want to pass it to somebody, that's okay. That's cool. We'll just step back and we'll defend deep because it's okay. You can have the ball in our half.
But that's the whole problem. That's you hit the nail on the hammer. You knit that.
You hit the nail on the hammer. There's the episode title.
Head there, Steve-O. The fact of the matter is, even last season, we had no midfield that could actually play those penetrating passes. And we thought Havertz coming in and Ziyech coming in, he's hurt. But we thought with Havertz coming in, that's the person that's going to be able to do that for us. And it's not happening, right? Jorginho is way too slow on the ball. Jorginho should be playing in freaking League Un, in France or freaking Series A. Like, he's
too slow, too weak.
Quick. He's not quick on the ball. And Conte can't blame him. It's not his it's not his specialty to be a playmaker.
No, he was lost in the box. I remember him getting the ball in the box. He was just lost.
Yeah, Conte had a good game, I thought.
He had a good game except offensively. I thought he was lost when it came to offensive.
That's not his game, man. That's not his game. Yeah.
You can't blame him for that, right? It's like Frank Lampard kept playing 3 center defensive mids, and I don't understand why. Like, it would have been so much better if he would have played Colin Hudson-Odoi, or actually my preference would have been to play Tammy Abraham and move Werner into the Mason Mount role and then just play Mason Mount in the middle. That would have been my preference, because you have Abraham who's tall yet quick, and he's able to actually hold the ball up real well and play Werner in. I was like, that would have been better than freaking 3 center defensive mids.
You know what's wild to me?
The what?
I kind of forgot that Havertz played that game.
Yeah.
I just remember that he was on the field. I didn't see him do anything.
To be fair to Havertz, again, as you guys know, he's been played out of position. He's not. You shouldn't play him as a false 9. You shouldn't play him on the wing. He's a playmaker. He needs to be number 10. And it's dumb to me that they're trying to play him in these places when you've got someone like Werner and Havertz who have played it together at international level, so they know each other's game. Why? Like Barato said, Werner, the difference between Werner and Mason Mount is you can track Mason Mount, you can defend Mason Mount. You can't track Werner's pace. You can't do it. He's that quick. Off the line, forget about it. It's like Mane. Like, as soon as Mane turns and goes, he is gone. Werner's the same. Why aren't they playing Havertz behind? Werner was making the runs, again, like Barato said, and you said, Steve. The Chelsea team behind him are not good enough to play the passes he needs.
No.
They're not good. And I do think in a few weeks' time, it's going to be a completely different story with Ziyech coming back, Pulisic coming back. I think Chelsea should revert to a 4-2-3-1, have Kante, get rid of Jorginho, sell him to Marseille or whoever the hell will take him, play like Kante and Kovacic at that CDM role, Havertz is the number 10. And the thing that Havertz needs, I think he's more like the kind of Christian Eriksen Modric role, where like just let him float around and do what he does best. You know what I mean? And you've got Pulisic on this side, Ziyech whipping balls in, and Chelsea are going to be scary, especially with Chilwell. Get that mug Kepa out of goal, and you've got a real team.
I do want to say Fabinho. He played hell of a defensive game, and I thought he was extremely. he had Werner's number when it came to keep playing him.
Yeah.
Werner tried to take him on multiple times, and it just didn't work. Fabinho seemed like he was solid, other than a penalty that Werner drew. But Fabinho did really well, considering that's not his role on a club level. Like he's like stepping back. So,
but it makes it easier for you though if you're just. I mean, yes, 1-on-1 isn't that easy, especially when you're going against a fast person. But if the guy's isolated, it makes it so much easier. Which Werner was isolated pretty much all the time. It's like that's going to help him out so much.
He made mistakes too. Like he kept trying to cut it. Like I remember that one play in particular. The ball was played. He cut it to the right, and then he tried to cut it to the left, right with like outside of 18. And I was like, why are you cutting it to the right, then your left? Like do one or the other, and then shoot. Like shoot.
You have the pace.
Was not tested at that point. I was like, just shoot. But overall, I agree with you, Tom. I thought I saw moments of brilliance. I just don't understand why more English clubs did not play. And I guess maybe it's the lack of quality. But Liverpool, that ball by Henderson, I hate to admit it to Mane, but it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was like
– ball was gorgeous. And the vision to see that, Chelsea's a top club. They should have someone like that that's able to see those runs. We need that center mid. We need that someone that's going to penetrate the defense with those balls, and we don't. I've been saying it for a year. I'm oversaying it. I'm tired. Frank Lampard needs to get his shit together.
Yeah, to be fair, you said it every single episode, I think. I will give credit. Liverpool played a very good game, and then they can now bring one of the best midfielders in Europe and the world off the bench. And Thiago broke the Premier League record for amount of passes in 45 minutes.
Oh man, he was putting dangerous passes in, man. That was ridiculous. Just like he was just strolling about, like, okay, all right, I guess I'll pop a pass. Oh yeah, pop a pass. All right, cool. Oh yeah.
He's good. Why
he was so comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Why did more clubs not go for him?
I don't know. I don't get it. For the price he was, I think he had his heart set on Liverpool. I think Klopp has been following him for a while. And I just think Klopp did that right thing by going for him at the right time. He, like Steve said, he fit right into the Premier League.
He was crazy.
Immediately. As soon the first touch of the ball, I was like, well, I think I text you guys immediately after his first few passes. I was like, this guy looks good. Like, he was so not an ounce of fear in him. The confidence you need to play at that level, he just has it immediately.
Yeah.
And even he made a couple of loose passes, didn't affect him. I think what Werner needs his first goal, and then he'll start to loosen up a bit, because right now you can see he's trying to fit into the team and fit into where he's going to play. As soon as he gets that first goal,
that's my other thing, though. He drew the penalty, right? Why not let him take a penalty?
Exactly.
You get his confidence up. You want your striker to have confidence. Why not let him take a penalty?
It's 2 weeks in a row he's won a penalty.
Yeah. I just don't understand why. I just think the whole I thought the whole tactic was just off. Like the entire thing, the more I think about it, the more angry I actually get. And it's been 3 days and I'm still seething about it. Yeah, I don't understand it. But I thought Liverpool was going to drop off, and they looked really, really good against Chelsea. They looked better. They looked so much better against Chelsea than Leeds. Or maybe I should say Leeds looked so much better than Chelsea playing them,
I mean, yeah, talking about Leeds, lads, I just think we spoke about it a little bit with Sheffield United last year. They came in, the team hasn't changed much from their championship run. So they're used to playing with each other. They're probably one of the fittest teams in the league. I don't know if you guys have seen the Amazon documentary.
Oh yeah, Bielsa makes his team run. No matter what team it is, they run.
When he came in, they lost on average 5 kilos each because of the fitness levels that he asked. And against Liverpool, and then at the weekend against Fulham, it showed off. They do look a little bit defensively lax at times,
I'm sure we'll get to talk about them a lot because they're gonna have some good performances. But Tom, let's talk about Tottenham though. I mean,
Oh,
you
it's
got a
a
lot
good
going
time.
on. Yeah, you got Bale. You got Bale coming back. You got Kane with 4 assists and a goal. After we were just throw him under the bus. So, what do you think about your game and about
Well,
Kane and all this going on?
I was actually really angry at Harry Kane in the first half because, I mean, he scores 2 goals. He was offside for both. At that point, you should be thinking in your mind, am I just being lazy here? I've been on offside for 2 goals that have been disallowed. But then the second half, he just came out and just bossed it. It helps that he's got a guy like Sonny that will just run and run and run.
Yeah,
And he just, it's a side of Harry Kane's game that gets overlooked is his passing ability. Like,
But why
since
though? Like that's we talked about this. He takes himself out of the game, not of the opportunity to score because he drops so deep. And
it's
I just
because
don't understand
like
why.
like Chelsea, we don't have a playmaker. So
But you had Christensen, like you
but
had
don't you? Yeah,
Ericsson, and he
Ericsson,
still did that when Ericsson was playing.
yeah. And don't you have Lo Celso right now? Don't you? Like, why does he drop
he
like that or
is.
go out wide?
I mean, again, I just think it's the team around him. I think like when before Christian Eriksen turned bad, Harry Kane won the Golden Boot like 2 years in a row. So I think it is just he needs someone like Kevin De Bruyne that's going to just like whip in the pass at the exact right time. And we just like there's only one Kevin De Bruyne. You guys know how highly I rate him, but Eriksen used to kind of have that little spark in him. But I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I hope we get some kind of creative midfielder. And Dombele, you guys know that I think highly of him, and he's just getting back to his match fitness, and he set up the first goal. Probably the only forward-thinking midfielder we have.
Yeah.
And
I
he's
just
trying to. I think Mourinho is rotating the team well because he's rotating him and Lo Celso. And
Yeah.
although Lo Celso is probably not as creative, Lo Celso is an engine. He'll just keep like the very, very box to box. He'll just keep going, and he's good on the ball. Probably not going to get a goal here and there, but he might jump up with an assist. But it's his work for the team that makes him good. So I mean, I hope it's a turn, especially with Bale now coming in. We signed Reguilon. I hope people aren't overlooking the quality of Reguilon signing.
No,
Because
he's Spain starting left back. He's good. He's gonna be quality.
as
That's
you,
why. What?
as you know, I actually wanted him over Chilwell. So
Oh yeah, who would not? Like he's Spain's starting left back. Who would not want to like the
yeah,
national team starting left back? And that's why Real Madrid put in the buyback clause because they know he's gonna be good. The only reason why he's not at Real Madrid right now is because of the other Mendy that's there, who's doing really well right now. But they know he's gonna turn out good. That's why they said they want the preemption clause and the buyback clause because they know what's gonna happen. I mean, it's basically a loan, but I guess if you're looking short term, it's worth it for your Spurs.
also Reguilon has to want to go back as well. Like they can't just buy him back. Reguilon has to put in a transfer request, and then Real Madrid can have first dibs on him.
Ah,
So again, like I know Reguilon is Spanish and probably dreamt of playing for Real Madrid one day.
yeah.
But I moan about it a lot, but I think Jose Mourinho is building something at Spurs that maybe not this year, but next year could be a real threat when they all learn to gel and work together. I don't think it'll be this year though,
And
unfortunately.
if you go with the Mourinho formula,
yeah,
second year that he does well, the third year it all just
it
falls
goes
apart.
downhill
So
fast.
yeah, so
I mean, I
but
hope
I mean,
so. I think I want him to get rid of Harry Winks. I just don't rate Harry Winks. I think he's brought in Højbjerg, who is a much better version of Harry Winks. But like Brato said about Chelsea, it infuriates me that they play Højbjerg and Winks together. They're the exact same player. Like, at least play Sissoko or Lo Celso next. Just something a bit different than winning the ball back and passing it sideways or backwards.
yeah.
You're asking for trouble. And it happened against Everton, and it happened the first half against Southampton. They're just too negative. And
I
I mean,
will say a lot of based on the games that I've seen, over the past season and so far this season. I will say a lot of Premier League teams kind of do that formula, which is so infuriating to watch, where the midfield really doesn't – everything seems to come from the outside, right? It's either the left back that's making the plays or crossing the ball in, or the midfield does not make those penetrating passes. We had Man City, we had Liverpool, and when Christian Eriksen was at Tottenham, that was happening. But it does seem the way the Premier League teams play, which is refreshing when you have someone like Kai Havertz coming to the team. And while people have been, getting on him, those quick 1-2s that he plays that breaks up the midfield,
You can see
I was like, why are more people not doing this? And it's so simple. Just move the ball fast. Every midfield is pressing. Just move the ball so fast, and you will break the midfield apart, and you can have quick play to the wide, to the wings to actually carry the ball. It's mind-boggling.
I think it's just the way English football is, because so compared to other top leagues like Italy and Spain, I think you're allowed to be a bit more physical on the ball than in Italy and Spain. So if you're gonna want to just play that kind of football, that kind of soccer, you have to have a ref that's a bit more sympathetic to the players, because you can't just like play that kind of football and not get fouled. You'll get fouled so many times. Like, I mean, all teams do it, like on counterattacks. If you're passing the ball around, you eventually end up getting fouled, so you can't really build up. So what you end up doing is like you're going to send it wide to try and beat a man, because they're not going to want to give away a corner or give away a foul on the edge of the box, something like that. But if it's in the middle of the field, like, yeah, what are you going to do with that? I think it's just because of the way it's easy to foul in the middle of the park. And so it's even harder to build up.
And I agree with you, right? But I mean,
it sucks though. I mean, just for because you can't watch good football.
We've seen this with Mourinho's United, right? And when they played Chelsea, and I think who was it that kept fouling Eden Hazard hard, like the first 10, 15 minutes that kept fouling.
Probably under Herrera. Probably.
It was Herrera. And I think he got Fellaini, Herrera. They all did, and then all of a sudden Herrera got a red card in like 25th or something minute, right? And I think that there's a tactic to playing that way, because when you're midfielders and you're defenders, when you're in a yellow card, right, then you can actually push forward and put them under pressure, because at that point, if they make a mistake, it's a red card and they're out. So there's some tactic to be said about that. I think it's refreshing, and I'm really excited for the fact that we're having new fresh blood coming into this Chelsea team and actually spicing it up, because with Ziyech coming in and playing the balls and through balls that we know he's capable of, and hopefully Havertz will do that. It's going to be exciting football. And so far, Liverpool and City are the only clubs, I would say, in Premier League that have actually played exciting football, in my point of view.
All right. Okay. Well, real quick, before I move on to the next match, Tom, how do you think, what do you think your lineup will be when Bale comes in? Whose spot is he going to take?
Lucas. I'd just swap him and Lucas, and just I hope he just rotates well, like even if he like experiments with Bale, maybe he drops back into like the number 10 role. Maybe Bale could be the creative spark we need. I don't know, but I would probably play him on the wing. Son, Kane, Bale, if he can keep his fitness up, of course.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're going for every single competition we can this year, because I do think we need to win a trophy, even if it's one of like the Mickey Mouse trophies, like the Carabao Cup or something.
Mickey Mouse trophy.
We need it as a club. We needed that morale.
Oh man!
Think how crazy, how scary that front three is going to be if Bale is actually healthy.
Oh, well, Mourinho said that because of his love for the club, his training, like he's going to get back to fitness faster because of his love for the club. So he's totally going to be fit soon.
Yeah, he says that he's already training like with the reserve teams, already kind of running around. Like he's weeks ahead of schedule. Hopefully Reguilon will get a run in, maybe against, we're playing some Macedonian team on Thursday. That's the one thing. I think Mourinho's done a good thing by bringing all these players in, because fatigue really got us last year. And, as soon as Harry Kane gets injured, it's like he's out for 6 months, But one really positive thing that I could always say about Tottenham is if you put Son or Kane in front of goal, it's going to be a goal.
Yeah.
And I think Son proved that at the weekend. Like, you give him the slightest chance, his finishing is so good that he'll get a goal. It's very rare that he doesn't.
The only thing I can see is that if you have Bale running down the wing, Kane isn't going to catch up because Bale carries the ball really well. I mean, we saw so many goals at Real Madrid and at Tottenham where he just got the ball in the defensive third or at halfway and just carried all the way and scored. I will not forget when he toasted Maicon. Like, dude, got the ball in his own half, went around Maicon, and Maicon's like, what is going on? This dude is running past me. And then just finishes like
he's fast. Wow.
Yeah, this dude is rapid. And you're just like watching, like, is he really moving that fast? And he just runs so smoothly. So the only thing I can see is just like Kane is not going to be able to keep up with that. But if Kane plays as starts doing hold up play, just play the ball to Kane and puts Bale in, that's gonna be so much trouble. That's gonna be trouble.
I think just I'm going to let Mourinho kind of shuffle the squad around and get used to it. I don't think we've seen Doherty's best. But again, I think it is getting used to a new team that it is really tricky. And I think he's looked good defensively. He just hasn't got that kind of attacking click just yet. But I think
not
it'll
really.
come. I think it'll come.
Yeah. Speaking of attacking quality, I guess, United versus Crystal Palace. That was horrible to watch, man.
Well,
I won $56 in that game, man.
Go away, Brato.
Palace looked good, man. And Zaha, we know his quality. I just think United really need upgrades on the defenders.
So my thing is that, we have 8 defenders, like 8 center backs. I'm pretty sure we got Phil Jones, we got Jones, Bailly, Rojo, Twanzebe, Maguire, Lindelof. So that's 6 right there. We need to get rid of, and we have Chris Smalling, 7, which we're trying to send him back to Roma. Well, sell him to Roma. We have way too many defenders. It's like we keep on buying players and not getting rid of Deadwood. I agree. I would rather see Bailly and Maguire in the back because, Brato, you were saying earlier, like, Maguire is slow. I think as much as you hate on him, I still think he's a good defender. But in certain instances, you do need speed. I still think positioning trumps speed more than anything. But if you're going to play possession and a bit of a high line be in the other team's half, you have to be able to have speed in one of the center backs in order to recover. If not, the other team is going to break and they will score, guaranteed. There were 2 long balls where Zaha should have had the ball and he just let De Gea take it. I don't know what Zaha was doing. Maybe he was just trying to be careful and not get a card. But
when he slowed down. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He could have had 2 goals, but he just let De Gea take it. I was like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. But all in all, man, just it looked like we hadn't played football in a month. Like, just passes weren't accurate. People were just kind of not running into space. And what really broke us is that we let them score first, and then they just sat back, and we just could not break them down. And Pogba had an awful game.
So did Fernandez, I thought.
But the thing is, Fernandez was the only person that was actually kind of doing something. Pogba gave the ball away so many times, had so many inaccurate passes. I still rate him, but he had a bad game. Like, he had a bad game. And it just and I think maybe Ollie is just saying, you know what, Woodward, look what I'm working with. Because on the right side, we had James and Fosu Mensah, and they did nothing. Like, they really didn't offer anything at all. Everything was going through the left. And then, it was just, there's so many bad things to pick out. That first goal, Shaw knew he was there, looked at him, and didn't cover him. Like, he was following the whole time and still gave him that space to cover it. Like, if he was in line with Lindelof and Maguire, he doesn't get scored. Somehow De Gea got a hand on it. I don't know how. But it was just, I don't know. It was horrible to watch. That was really
it was poor defending. Was that Jeffrey Schlupp that put the ball in for him?
Yeah. Somehow, first off, the first thing you do as a defender, you stop the cross, right? That's the first thing that should happen. But as a defender, you shouldn't be expecting the cross to be stopped. You should be playing as if that ball is going to go through. you don't give the man space. You give the man space, and of course he scored. Like if he had so much time to make that recovery, but it's like, no, I'll just play lazy. The ball's not gonna get in, and it came in, and guess what? Of course he scored. And it's, I don't know, like, and then it's like you have those people starting. Who else are you gonna bring on to help? Really nobody.
He did leave like Van der Beek and Greenwood on the bench.
I can understand leaving Greenwood on the bench because I know they had said Greenwood was training by himself because of just dude's being an idiot recently. I mean, he's a teenager. His teenage tendencies coming out, you know. But we just played Luton Town today, right? And the game changed. So he brought on Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, and Greenwood, and the way we were playing the game absolutely changed, just drastically. They looked like we were up 1-0, throw a penalty, could not even score from open play, right? As soon as
they almost scored, I saw.
Yeah, Dean Henderson had an amazing save. Save. And then Baye has to clear off the line. But before those three came on, we seriously looked like we were going to tie the game, which is ridiculous. It's just if the first team can't score a goal, then we're just absolutely done for because there's no other options. And it's just so annoying to have to deal with that, just knowing that if the first team can't do it, anybody coming off the bench is just not going to be an upgrade. It's just so like depressing to see, honestly. It's just horrible to watch.
Why did he leave Bissaka on the bench? I mean, it seems like the first goal came from that side, right?
Yeah.
It makes one wonder if Aaron Bissaka was there, you know, would they have gotten such an easy cross through?
I don't think so, but I also know Bissaka went to Dubai apparently and had to be in quarantine or whatever. So I don't know if that's why. I don't know if he had been trained by himself because he had to be in quarantine and then he wasn't up to it or whatever, or it's for rotation. But either way, it just doesn't make any sense, like how we started. And it just shows that we need to sign players, honestly. And I will say though, McTominay had a great game.
He did.
He's not gonna distribute the ball as great as Matic or anybody else, but he will harass you in the midfield and make sure you do not have a good time if you're on the opposing team, which is pretty great. I will give that to him. He had a great game, just disrupting in the midfield. I will give that to him. He had a great game. But
where would you strengthen, Steve? Like what? Because you've got Pogba and Fernandes there that are both like. Where would you strengthen?
Honestly, in defense, because we scored goals last season. We scored goals. I still don't mind bringing in a right-sided forward, like winger, just so there is that option. If Greenwood isn't having a great game, there's that. Or if we want to have that, make sure it's not just Rashford and Greenwood that are our wingers. Because if there's no depth right there, just have somebody else there. And then if Baye is not good enough to start, then bring in a fast defender, a fast center back. Because you can't have two slow center backs. That's disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, I don't get why people aren't going in for Upamecano.
Well, he doesn't want to leave, and he just signed a new contract with a release clause. But yeah, he doesn't want to leave. It's kind of like Koulibaly. He doesn't want to leave Napoli either.
He's such a good player. Yeah,
he is. I mean, he's an upgrade to any team he goes to.
I don't get why Van der Beek didn't have more of a run in, because that guy, he finds space. He's a classic Dutch player like that. He just kind of weaves between the lines, and then suddenly he's in space, and he has a good first touch. I kind of get Ollie's problem, because what formation do you play? You've got so many players that are probably shouting at him to start. What do you do with that? I mean, I kind of understand why Van der Beek didn't start, because today against Luton Town, granted, it wasn't with the starting 11. He was doing his thing, just running in and around the box and trying to do just flicks and all that, and people were not ready for it. So if that's your game where you're just gonna do 1-2s and flicks and all that, it takes a while to just understand where people are going to be and for people to expect it. Because you see how Rashford and Martial play together, there's that connection. And if you're going to be playing that kind of football in and around the box, you have to have a bit of a connection, and that takes time. So maybe that's why. I don't know, man. I don't get it.
I found it interesting contrasting Pep and OGS, right? Because the OGS did not play Mason Greenwood because of the whole thing that happened with the national team. Pep said, fuck that. I'm playing Phil Foden.
Oh, yeah.
And he scored
Yeah.
a goal, and they actually won easily. I think there's that mentality aspect, right? Whereas OGS, I think he is more about building something rather than winning. And Pep is like, I'm gonna win and build something along the way while I'm winning. And I just think it's just an interesting contrast, considering both teams are in Manchester and, you know, both have such deep history. Well, City more recently than United, but
Well, I think that's also just reflection of where both teams are. I mean, City's been winning, and they've been going through a 7-year rebuild, breakdown, just BS rebuilding. So there's that where a United we just hired our manager and it's like, oh wait, you're doing a crap job. Bring somebody else. It's just been going for quick fixes. So Pep doesn't really have to worry about building anything. It's already been built, and Ollie is trying to build something because everybody else before him has just gone for quick fixes. So there's that different aspect.
Yeah, it's confusing, man. I don't know the best formation yet, really, for United.
Yeah, no.
I just don't think United have a right manager. I really, really don't. I think he's fine, but I don't think if United wants to win Premier League, I don't think they'll do it under OGS.
I agree. I think we have the right manager for this point in time based off of what we've been doing for the past 6-7 years and hiring a manager for 2-3 years, There needs to be a bit of stability and building and accepting the fact that, oh, wait, none of these people are Sir Alex Ferguson. They don't have the management skills, and we're not playing the way we were playing 7 years ago. So there needs to be a reality check of, okay, all right, we need to get back to where we were, or at least get back closer and not just try and make this long leap and just fall back even further.
But you're not. But the problem is when you have a manager like OGS, right? He's building his vision, and each manager builds their vision. So if you don't think OGS is going to win a Premier League, he really shouldn't be there because he's just going to build something that someone else is going to come and tear down in order for them to build something. I think United really just need to go for a young, exciting manager. Like Nagelsmann would be a great fit for United to bring his type of football in there.
Eddie Howe?
Eddie Howe. Yeah, Eddie Howe would be really good. I think there's so many options when there are so many good managers in different leagues. And imagine having a manager that comes in and implements his fast 1-2 kind of soccer. It would blow a lot of these Premier League teams away, honestly.
It would.
But OGS has one simple plan, and if any of the front three are injured, I'm willing to bet every time I'm willing to bet $5 that United is going to. I honestly am. If Mason Greenwood, Rashford, or your number 9, the French guy is escaping me right now. Martial. If either one of them is not playing, United is going to lose.
But then is that his fault or Woodward's fault for not being able to sign players for depth?
His fault. I think it's absolutely his fault because
I think it's Woodward's fault.
I think United has quality, right? I think United has quality. Well, I mean, he's just signed Daniel James, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's just a fact that OGS has one game plan, and if that game plan, if all the pieces are not there, he does not adapt and utilize the pieces to his advantage. And I think
you didn't watch the game. You didn't watch the game against Luton Town, man. Because seriously, that was hard to watch. We're playing Luton Town, and they were struggling against Luton Town, man. Like straight up struggling against Luton Town. So I really don't blame him. I mean, so I will agree with you on the fact that, yeah, you have to adjust as a manager based off who you have, but you can only adjust so much with the amount of talent that you have, you know? You can only adjust so much.
You are Manchester United, the richest club in the world. You have talent. You spent $80 million in Harry Maguire. You bought players left and right. And most of those players are not even on the team at this point because they've been just kind of replaced and sold off for scraps. Like, you guys have talent even now. I think if you could get a right manager in there, he'd probably buy 1 or 2 players and you'd be solid.
I would tell you, it's not the manager's not bringing in players. I would tell you that it's not
I
the
know,
manager.
but I'm saying if you just need 1 or 2 signings and a manager that's more.
Wait, hold on. You just said we need 1 or 2 more signings, but you said we also have the
For a new
talent.
manager. For a new manager, right? New manager is going to come in, and for him to implement his soccer, it would probably need 1 or 2 players of that understand his gameplay. Like if you brought Sarri in, I have no doubt you would win a title.
Oh, sorry, that cigarette chewing weirdo.
Hey, he was first, all right? He was.
Cigarette chewing weirdo.
Like seriously, who chews cigarettes, man? It's so weird.
Italian ass.
It's like dude, put some dip in or something. Ugh.
I don't think did they have dip in Europe?
They have snus.
Did
I know
they?
that? Yeah, that was snus.
Oh, that's funny.
Maybe
man.
he just needs to be introduced to it.
Change his life.
Yeah, I don't know with United, man. I guess we'll see. Again, I just think they need a bit of time to get into it again.
I also think that which sucks because you can't lose points if you're trying to stay in the top 4, especially with teams strengthening. Speaking of which, Everton has strengthened there.
Good gracious.
Really well.
Yeah, they look so good.
That game against West Brom was amazing. I mean, granted, Kieran Gibbs just screwed it. Messed it up.
What a dickhead. Let's talk about that for a moment. Like, why?
Yeah.
You have 25 cameras on you at all times.
What do you expect for a former Arsenal
What a
player?
prick. That's the kind of thing I'd be like, you know what? You can go train with our under 23s for the rest of the year. Like, oh man, I would be fuming if I was
and
a
rightfully
West Brom fan.
so. Yeah, because I mean, West Brom, they were in it. They weren't playing amazing, but they were in it because honestly, this is what I've noticed about Everton, right? The ball always goes to the left. It's gonna go to Luka, then it's gonna go to Richarlison. Richarlison's gonna do his thing, or it's gonna go to James on the right, or he's gonna drift central. And guess what James is gonna do? He's gonna pass to Richarlison. That's all they do. I mean, honestly, and
Or shoot.
but it's not. There's not that much. I mean, I should have looked at this before, but I bet just the ball is on the left side of the field 80% of the time because it always goes to Richarlison. Granted, nobody stopped it yet. I don't know how Spurs gonna stop it. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, they scored 5 goals though, so I guess it's working for them.
I mean, they look good. I mean, honestly, they look really good. The type of soccer that they're playing, it's entertaining to watch them. Like it's been the last 2 games have been pretty entertaining. That brings me to question: Everton top 4 contenders after 2 games.
We'll get to it. Let's talk about a couple more games and we'll talk about potential top 4.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm with you though. But seriously, it's great. They made some really good signings because Alan and Doucouré have
Alan's a baller, mate.
Yeah, he just gets the ball. It's like, okay, all right, who wants the ball? Who wants the ball? Who wants the ball? Oh, you want the ball? Okay, here you go. No, you don't want the ball? Okay. And it's just like this cool on the ball. And Doucouré is just, I mean, he's like a Conte because he's just gonna keep on going and it will hound you. It's like, oh, you're about to get a counterattack? Not today, man. Like, not today. He's just like he will hound you down. Because I remember they almost had a counterattack and Doucouré was on it immediately. So they made some good signings, honestly. Doucouré, Alan, and James, and they're making instant impact. So
James is scary.
Doucouré, I mean, like you said, the counterattack, he did the same thing against Spurs. It was like Sonny had like a 1v1 against Pickford, and Doucouré tracked his run, caught up to him, made a great tackle. And I just think Ancelotti's filling in the gaps nicely. Yeah, I think it's an exciting time to be an Everton fan. They're only going to get better the more they play with each other.
That's true.
Yeah, it's just one of those interesting things that, like Brato, I think James Rodriguez is world class still. He just sees the game in a different way. As players, you need players like that.
And he can get the opposing defenders sent off too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just try and punch him.
To me, it's crazy he wasn't given a proper chance at Real. Like, and then he was just shipped off to Bayern, and I can't believe Bayern didn't sign him. Like,
It makes you wonder why.
it
Well,
does make you wonder absolutely why.
I actually read a little blog post. Apparently, he's not the easiest person to work with.
Huh.
So I don't know if there's any truth to that, but apparently he's like, he gets angry easily, and he thinks he's like the center of the team always. So I mean, I hope that for Everton's sake that's not true, but I mean, he's gone to Real and Bayern Munich, two top teams, and both let him go. So there must be something going on.
Yeah, there has to be something. Honestly, there has to be.
Yeah, I really don't know, but if there's one manager that can actually get him and understand him, it's Ancelotti.
Oh yeah, he's a great man manager.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just seeing after he scored a goal and came off as a sub, the hug between them, I was like, this relationship actually might work out for both of them.
I forget. I don't know who was saying it, but I'd seen a quote saying that James wasn't going to Everton, he was going to Ancelotti. Somebody had said that somewhere. I don't know who said it, but it makes sense though. Like when they said he's going to Ancelotti, he's going to an Ancelotti team, not Everton, which makes sense. So they have that kind of just relationship where he's gonna listen to him, and Ancelotti knows how to get the best out of him. So it might work out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. It's a good target for them, right? Top four, like Brato said, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of quality still there, for sure. I think the race again will be City versus Liverpool.
I am so excited for this season, though. I think without a doubt it's going to be City versus Liverpool. But the top four, I think, with freaking Spurs signing Bale and Reguilon, if Bale can stay healthy and Kane can stay healthy, they'll be a force. Like I'm terrified.
Real quick. Hold your thoughts. We're about to get there.
I'm excited about the
Speaking of City, though, City versus Wolves, that game did not go the way I thought it would go at all. I thought Wolves were gonna put up a bigger fight.
I text you guys. Why would you play Adama? Why wouldn't you play him forward? Just exactly like Chelsea and Werner. You've got the quickest footballer in the world on your team, and you're playing right wing back. What? You want to lose the game?
I think they lost a couple key players, and I think the manager is still trying to figure out how to deal with that.
But as soon as they bought, was it Vinagre on?
Yeah.
They pushed Traore up a bit. Then look what happened. They looked to score.
Well, and they had at least 2-3 good chances that they wasted.
They did. They did. They were.
And it was just like, what are you doing? Like it was either like Paul Dennis trying to chip Ederson, or who was it that had the left-footed shot that was just an unbelievably weak shot. There were at least 3 chances. It was like, you probably should have scored. And I guess Wolves didn't play. They didn't play that well in the first half. That's for sure. But in the second half, they had really good chances, but just did not take them. They were getting dominated, but they did not take their chances in the second half. It's like you have to take your chances against City because they'll eventually gonna score. Especially when they've been playing the last 2 months, they're gonna score.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
did you guys see their bench?
I did.
City's bench?
No.
It was so weak. I didn't know half the players on their bench.
They've got that
Ferran Torres.
I don't really know too much about him, but
yeah,
I mean,
know the bottom of him is a new sign, but they had Thomas Doyle. They have Liam Delap. I was like, who are these people? Like, it must be their youth and youngsters. And I was surprised that I thought for sure that they would have a bit of a better, deeper bench.
I mean, they got rid of Sane. David Silva's gone now.
Well, it's not Bernardo Silva.
Bernardo Silva, but I think was he on the bench? I know Gundogan has unfortunately got COVID, so he's quarantining. But I agree. I still think KDB ran the show.
Oh yeah,
as he always does. Like that man is. I heard Sky Sports punditry on him, and I completely agree with his statement that he's the best player in the world in the second category of players underneath Ronaldo and Messi. You know? I'd go as far as saying that he probably is the best player in the world at the moment,
Yeah.
judging by Ronaldo and Messi's form. I just there's nothing he can't do. Every single pass is perfectly weighted. Perfectly weighted.
Yeah.
I think if Man City got a better striker, not Aguero, I'm talking about Gabriel Jesus.
I know that. I'm surprised he's still there, man.
Me too. I really am as well. I don't think he's that great. And I think this is a season where Pep sees it.
He's giving him a lot of time, and like he's still. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Like this might be the season. It was like, you know what? Sorry about you. Aguero's about to retire. I need somebody who can finish every single time.
But who's out there, right? I think that's the question: is who do you bring in?
I hate to say it, Harry Kane.
Nah, he wouldn't make that.
Harry Kane would, like England, Harry Kane scores goals for fun for England because he's got Sancho and Sterling. He's got attacking-minded players that make the runs, and then Kane can just slip into his positions. And with Kevin De Bruyne behind them, as much as I hate to say it, if they got Kane, they would be a.
Yeah.
I don't think Kane would go to City though. He just doesn't seem like that kind of person. He seems like a one club kind of person.
I think if we don't win anything this year, it'll be hard for us to hang on to Kane.
I agree with that.
As much as I hate to admit it, because I hope Kane stays, but Kane is too good to stay at a team that don't win anything.
Yeah, that is true. I agree with that.
Like Kane should be in Champions League winning and Premier League winning teams. He's got the quality.
But the thing is, I would expect Son to move before Kane.
I would.
I don't think Sonny will move.
I don't move either.
Sonny loves it at Tottenham.
Yeah. He's a cult hero. He loves it there.
Yeah, like the South Korean fans are coming out strong for him. I don't know. But like going back to City, I think if they can just get a striker, and I wasn't sold on the John Stones Nathan Ake partnership.
Nah.
So I mean, I've never been fully sold on Ake, to be honest. He's obviously good, but he's not in my top 10 defenders.
Yeah, but who's gonna play back there with Laporte, right?
Yeah, you got a point. I think John Stones made a good name for himself. I thought he had a better game than Ake.
Wow.
I think Adama Traore bossed Benjamin Mendy around like a little rag doll.
Like I keep on saying, Mendy is a fraud.
Yeah, mate.
I keep on saying he's a fraud.
I'm agreeing with you more and more every time I see him play. I just think he's actually not that good a footballer.
No.
He's got a good cross on him. First time
exactly what I was about to say. He's got a good cross, but everything else is like.
But yeah, his defensive positioning's off. He's pretty weak. Players can read him really well, and that's what kind of makes a weak defender in my mind. When Traore just had him every time, just push the ball past him and run.
But speaking of which, I mean, we've talked about most of the good games. I know you guys have been chomping at the bit. So, who do you think is going to make top 4 this year?
See, I don't know because
same.
It's one of those. I really thought Man United would start really well, especially after the Van de Beek signing.
Same.
But we'll see. Again with Chelsea, I think Chelsea are still serious contenders with the players they've got. Bearing in mind that half their signings haven't even played yet.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard to tell is that the people that we're expecting to do well are starting off slow. Well, some of them are.
Yeah. I think if Tottenham can sign Skriniar from Inter Milan, Tottenham will be up there. I believe that. Maybe not the top of the top 4, but they'll be in the top 4 maybe. Man City and Liverpool will obviously be in there. Everton, you can make an argument for. I think Leeds could be serious people as well. Dude, Leeds are good. I'm not excited to play Leeds.
I think Leeds will be in the top 6. I think they'll be in the top 6.
I don't.
You don't think so?
I think
they're class.
I think this season is going to be one of the more competitive seasons we've seen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think Arsenal is going to make a very strong push for top 4. We didn't really talk about them. The thing is, they have older players, but they have good older players. They have players that can score. The only issue that Arsenal is going to encounter is I think that lack of depth. But I think Arsenal is going to make a serious push for contender. I think it's going to be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs in top 4. I actually think Chelsea might even finish second. I think they might edge out Liverpool. While Liverpool looks, I do. While Liverpool looks fantastic, and I think their midfield that they brought in, Thiago, is great. I do think the lack of depth is going to catch up to them. Milner is old. Like Milner, I mean, for crying out loud, they play Fabinho as center back, right? So I think they're just 1 or 2 injuries away from still making top 4, but not being a title contender, in my opinion.
I think so. My definitive top 4, I think Man City are back in. I think same thing with Liverpool. They're gonna, if they have injuries, they are going to struggle. But I still think they finish second. Then it's gonna be a battle for. It's gonna be. I think it'll be a tight battle from 3rd to 5th, and I think it'll be between. I think Leicester City makes it in.
I don't think they'll make it in.
I think they make it in, and 4th Chelsea.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Everton is going to make a very strong push.
Me too.
I would not be surprised if Everton gets top 4. I honestly would not.
The only reason why I'm not putting Everton in the top 4 is that they played. So that game against Tottenham played. I don't know what they were playing, but that was BS. And right now, it's like you were saying about OGS, right? Doing the same thing. They've done the same thing in both games. They always go down the left-hand side. It's just, and so like they haven't really played. I mean, of course, it's the beginning of the season, so it's hard to tell. But they've played Tottenham, who played some kind of just wonky system, and just that was absolute trash. And they played West Brom, who just got promoted and got a red card, and West Brom scored 2 goals against them. And then after the red card, then they scored 3 goals. It kind of fell apart, right? So I feel like that's not a good enough. It's not a good enough gauge to see where they're going to go. They're obviously going to do well based off the 3 players that got signed. And if Calvert-Lewin can keep up the form, they're going to do well. But I don't know if that, just the way they're playing, that's going to be able to last for them.
I think you make an excellent point. I've had Everton. I've said for the past probably 3-4 years, the way that Everton was buying players and what they were trying to achieve. Every year I said they're going to be a contender, and they finished 10th. They have, but this season I do think that that's going to change. I really do. This is why I don't think Leeds is going to be up there, because I think Arsenal, Everton, Spurs, Chelsea, United all look really, really good. And I think United is going to take a while to get going.
Yep.
But once they get going again, like last season, I think it'll be hard to stop them if they can keep their front 3 healthy. I really do, because that's just pure talent, and they'll find ways to win. But yeah, I thought it was just really, it's going to be an exciting season. I'm so excited for it.
Oh, me too, man.
Thinking about it.
Wait, so Tom, what was your definitive top 4, Tom?
I think Liverpool will win, as long as
Really?
they, like you guys said, as long as they can keep their players fit, because they brought in Jota, they brought in Thiago, but their defensive vulnerability is what's going to hurt them. As we've seen, Van Dijk has a mistake in him. He's good defensively, of course, but he's not the player he was last year. And I think players have worked that out now. Like people, you could see they went against Van Dijk and they were kind of scared of him. But I think that that fear's gone.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Spurs.
Oh, you dove Bale.
I just feel good. I feel good. It might take us a few weeks to get going, but once we get going.
And I think Mourinho's second season, right? Like he always does so well the second season. And that's been true for every club he's been in. So I think Spurs are going to put up serious challenge. I definitely think you're going to win a trophy this year. But which one? I would have to say probably FA Cup. Who do you guys think is going to get relegated?
Yeah, bottom. Ooh. It's
I mean,
tough.
I can say off the bat, West Brom is going to be one of them. I'm not impressed by West Brom, even though they got 2 goals. Fulham will probably go down.
Absolutely, yes.
And this could be the year that West Ham goes down.
I think so too. I mean, they deserve to go down. I mean, are you serious? How do you? So, I mean, I won't say they deserve, but they sold Diangana. How do you sell one of your promising stars coming up to a rival? Like, what? Like, why would you do that? Like, who does that? I mean, granted, I know that people care about profits and all that, but that just speaks to, like, you don't really care about your talent coming through your club, because you sold him to West Brom and he's starting. Mark Noble absolutely ripped the board to shreds, just talking about it. And other players in West Ham were just ripping the board to shreds. Like, what are you doing selling this guy? This guy's a promising player. Why are you going to sell him to a rival? So I agree. Like, I think this is the year West Ham goes down too. I also think Fulham for sure. Like, dude, they really haven't improved their players from when they were in the Premier League before. So I think Fulham goes down. I think West Ham goes down. And also West Brom. And if Sheffield doesn't get their ship turned around real quick, they will be also very close to getting relegated.
They lost their 2 opening games. Like, it's a serious chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched their last game. It was just horrible. They didn't look like the old Sheffield. And they also lost Dean Henderson. And they got Ramsdale, who he looked good when he was playing at Bournemouth because he was facing a lot of shots. But now that it comes down to it, it's like, maybe he's not that good. He was just.
I guess we'll see.
He was just facing a lot of shots. So he had a lot of saves, but as far as actual skill, I mean, did you see him diving in slow motion against Aston Villa? I was like,
oh, that was funny. Yeah,
that was funny. It was in slow motion.
Yeah, losing Dean Henderson is a big blow for Sheffield, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best player for, 2 seasons in a row?
Yeah. Because Dean Henderson is a Premier League level goalkeeper. Like, he was amazing for them.
Yeah, he was. He's great. I think West Brom is going to go down. I do think Fulham is going to go down. And I actually disagree about West Ham just because West Ham has too much talent. I do think Moyes is going to be the first manager to be fired, for sure. After that, it'll be a battle to stay up, but I think they'll manage it. I'm not impressed by Aston Villa. I don't think that they'll stay up this year. They got very lucky last year.
Yep.
I don't see the quality. I think they'll get lucky every now and then and win, but I don't see the quality of them actually staying up. So,
yeah, I mean, I could see that as well, man. West Ham or Aston Villa for me.
Yeah.
Like you said, they got very lucky last year, with the Sheffield. They should have been in the Championship. We shouldn't even be talking about Aston Villa right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously we're 2 weeks in, so we should write this down so at the end of the season we can look to see who was most correct.
We have video, right? We have video.
This is true. But so that's, man, we talked about a lot, but let's kind of, let's start with trash talk. We can't forget about the core of what we talk about, trash talk. And I'll start off because I'm pissed off, man. So Woodward, man, like seriously, who is this clown Woodward? Glazers, who are these clowns Glazers, man? Like, you can tell that the Glazers don't care about Manchester United, because the club keeps on going into debt, and they keep on taking money out of the club. It's like, oh, yeah, you're buying players, but I don't really care because you're making a profit off the club. You don't care about the footballing history. You don't care about the prestige at all. You just care about, oh, yeah, we're making millions off of this. You don't care about just that debt at all. And Woodward is like, there's been so much talk like we need a director of football. We need somebody who actually knows what's going on. I read a Klopp had some interview, and so I guess apparently we tried to get Klopp at Man United, and the way Woodward pitched it is like he had, I forget how he pitched it, but in the pitch he mentioned Disneyland. Like, how are you gonna bring a top level coach to your club and Disneyland is in your sales pitch, dude? Like, what is going on, man? Like, he obviously doesn't know enough about football and just transfers and negotiations in order to be able to be the one doing that. Because so right now we're going after Alex Telles from Porto. We've agreed personal terms, but I don't care about personal terms, man. It doesn't matter if the dude agrees personal terms. What matters is that if you pay the club, if you negotiate with the club, hey man, we know you value your player. This is what we're gonna pay for him. Negotiate. Who cares if he agrees personal terms? This is like the second or third time that's happened now. Oh, agreed personal terms. Good job, man. He wants to come, but he still need to pay the club. Like, and even like Ollie has said, I want a right-sided forward and a left back. And that hasn't happened. I'm really happy we got Van de Beek. We needed somebody like that just to help break down people that sit back. But we need more than that, honestly. Like, we need way more than that. Woodward just, you can tell, I don't need to be a higher up at a football club to understand that Woodward doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what he's doing at all. Like, he does not. It's quite obvious from here. And even all the old players say it. I mean, Ever went on a rant, is absolutely ripping the club to shreds, rightfully so. Rio has been saying it like Rio was saying, like, yeah, look at Chelsea. They want a player, bam, it's done. They want a player, bam, it's done. Like calling Woodward out. It's like, and we're over here like, oh, do we want a player? I don't know. Do we want this player? It's like, what is going on, man? Like, what are you doing?
Well, you saw the list of rejections from United. Like, they went for, I can't remember if we sent it to each other. It's like they went for Reguilon, he signed to Spurs. They went for blah blah. He said so. It's like 5 or 6 players that United were linked with, and then that was other clubs.
That wasn't completely accurate, like because Ake was on there. We never went for Ake. People are saying him with like Ollie whispering his ear was us going for him, and those. But it's still there's still truth in it. Like we've gone for players and just be like, nah. So that's just really annoying.
You remember
Legit trash talk.
Yeah, someone made a comment, and it's like every transfer window, United wins the battle when it comes to social media speculation. And that is absolutely true. Every time there's a transfer window is open, United is linked to every single top player. Yep. And they always either sign with other clubs or nothing happens. So I understand your frustration.
It doesn't matter if we're going for them or not. It's like, oh, look, Ollie whispered in Ake's ear. They were going for him. It's like, what? Like, but I mean, it's
great game.
Say what?
They could have just whispered great game. Like, give it words of encouragement. I just don't understand how you can be the richest club in the world and be the worst when it comes to transfer markets.
Woodward.
Even Daniel Levy is better than this.
Yeah, he is, because he knows how to manage money. But like, that's what I'm saying. Woodward, man, we need actual director of football that actually knows what is going on.
It's a legit trash talk, I think.
Yeah.
Pisses me off.
You want to go next? Or you want me to go next?
You can go next.
So I think you touched a great point earlier. All these pundits and all these people talking shit about Kai Havertz and how he might be a bust. Dude, it's been 2 freaking games. He's been training with the club for a week. How are you going to judge a player based on how well he's done for a week? Oh, yeah, Werner's doing well. Yeah, Werner's the type of player that's going to adapt well in any kind of system. No matter where he goes and plays, he'll adapt well. Havertz is not one of those players. Leave the man alone. He's 21 years old. He's just the highest transfer target for Chelsea. And all of a sudden, people are talking shit about him. We don't want another Kepa on our hands, all right? This is what happened with Kepa. He's young. He's the most expensive club signing. He sucks. This is exactly what happened with Fernando Torres when he was the most expensive club signing. Get off the kid's back, all right? He'll get there. Half the team is freaking missing. Not a single Chelsea player has really done that great for the past 2 games. I love Mason Mount. I have a main crush on Mason Mount. He sucked the last 2 games. Get off of the kid's back. Leave Kai alone.
Let him play. Just let him play.
Leave Kai alone, all right?
I mean,
I'm gonna laugh so much if he does flop. I'm gonna remind you of this.
But this is exactly what happens. Like, I mean, I remember when we signed Kepa, and Kepa is truly a flop. Like, he is the worst signing I have seen. Not the worst signing, but he's the worst signing that I've seen turn out so bad. Like, I just don't understand. Like, he's literally been at fault for 2 goals in 2 weeks. I think I could even blame the Christensen goal on him.
Oh yeah, what was he doing up there? He was lost. He was in no man's
Nowhere
land.
near that. You remember that
He was
ball?
out at sea.
You remember that one ball when who was it that
He
tried
tried
to
chasing Salah.
Yeah. It's like, are you kidding me?
Why are you chasing one of the quickest players in the league?
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna chase Salah? Are you kidding me, dude? Like,
He came
So
out when the
funny.
ball was going away from him. Like even I'm watching the TV and I was like, why is he chasing that ball down? It's going away from him. It's actually spinning. What is he doing? And of course, Salah, like, we were lucky and Christensen got back. I think he's just a horror show. And I don't want Kai to end up like that because of the pressure and pundits all talking crap about him for a kid that's been training for a week. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, have some logic in you.
Yeah, man. I mean, I want to keep with the Chelsea theme because
let's go.
I can't work out if my trash talk's Lampard or Kepa. I've done Kepa before, so I'm gonna go. My trash talk is Lampard. So let's start in goal. Everyone that enjoys the sport of football knows that Kepa is terrible, yet he still gets play. I would honestly play a reserve goalkeeper ahead of him. I don't give a shit about his morale. He's crap. Like, the worst goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life, and that's not an overstatement. I've never seen anyone worse than him. Like, how is he a professional goalkeeper? I could honestly do better in goal than him. Like,
yeah, why didn't Caballero start? I would have started Caballero.
Yeah, why? I would just like.
I don't know.
I wouldn't even bench Kepa. But anyway, not only that, I think why. I touched upon it earlier, but why would you play a 4-3-3? You're playing Havertz out of position, in my opinion. You're playing 3 people at CDM that haven't got an attacking bone in their body. Zuma has been impressive the last couple of games. I'll give him that. He's really starting to step up. Christensen's a clown. Like Alonso looked okay, I guess. Nothing special. I don't know. I don't think he's been reactive enough. Like, why couldn't he see within 20 minutes? This is what good managers do. Within 20 minutes, he could see that Liverpool were bossing Chelsea.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't you make some changes then? Like, I just firmly believe that Havertz is a number 10 and not a winger. I don't know why you wouldn't try and release Werner more. I don't know. I just thought he had the game plan wrong. I mean, Chelsea didn't even look impressive in their first game, to be honest. They looked all right. Nothing special.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, you're going to be playing the bigger clubs and it doesn't look good for Chelsea. But saying that, he's done fantastic in the transfer window. And I think there's brighter days to come for Chelsea. But right now, he's not managing his team well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I completely agree with everything except one part. That's Christensen. I think with an exception of the red card, I thought he was fantastic both of our games. I thought he was the better center back out of the two defensively for both games. That ball we were just talking about when Kepa came out and chased Salah and Salah got around him, he covered back to make sure that Mane didn't score a goal, or Firmino, I can't remember who it was. I just think the red card was unfortunate because I do think he was actually falling down and he just grabbed a hold of him.
Oh yeah, he's a good player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying, like, that was a silly.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, I was thinking, who is going to be that center back pairing when Thiago Silva comes on? And I think before the red card, I would have said Christensen for sure. I just thought he was a lot more composed and fast. Zuma, to me, just looks so uncertain on the ball. For crying out loud, how many balls did he just kick out of bounds for no good reason? It's like as soon as the defender comes at him, he boots it. It's like he's the Phil Jones of Chelsea now.
Yeah.
Except
weren't you singing this man's praises a week ago or so? Now you're just turning on him?
No, I did say Zuma ended the season as the best center back for Chelsea. That is absolutely, that's my honest opinion. However, this new season, I thought Christensen started really well. I thought Christensen was making a statement that he should be playing. The problem with Zuma is and always has been with me is that he's so clumsy on the ball. Every time he receives the ball, he's like, even his body language, like his positioning, just seems like he doesn't know what to do with it. But every now and then he'll surprise you and make a freaking darting run like he did against Ajax and just like almost score a goal single-handedly. But I do think Christensen is better defender. I really do.
Yeah.
Zuma has advantage offensively for sure. I think
Yeah.
Zuma is better in the air, and I think he has better offensive prowess.
Yeah, I mean Zuma dealt with Van Dijk really well on the corner.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Won every header.
Every ball in the air, I think he's been our strong suit. But
I
personally,
agree with you. On the ball, he is. I mean, he's Tottenham's like Eric Dyer is Tottenham's version. Just very poor on the ball. Can't really pass. Tries ridiculous long balls and puts it out of play. So I get that, man. It's just, I mean, he defends well though, which is.
He does. But when Thiago Silva comes on and we have that aerial presence, right? Would you now want someone that's, quicker and able to be do defensive positioning better? I think Zuma was at fault for the first Chelsea goal just as much as Christensen. He was way too far. And I mean, Steve-O, you're a defender, right? But I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Zuma, I thought, was way too far apart from Christensen.
Yeah, he was way too far.
The middle was wide open, which is why Mane was able to just make that run.
But Zuma was covering Alonso because Salah also made a good run, and he had broken ahead of Alonso. So I think actually, if you watch it back, you see Zuma, he kind of glances over to the left, sees Salah make the run, and kind of steps in and back a bit, and that opened up the room. Henderson did a fantastic job of he played the pass at the exact right time. As soon as Zuma made that move, Mane runs across, bang.
You can't necessarily blame Zuma because I would say you blame it on game plan or on the wing backs because if both your wing backs are up, the center backs are going to have to spread out a bit so that if the ball is played in behind, they're not able to make up that much room, right? So because you saw it with the way Bayern Munich played, Alphonso Davies and Kimmich were all the way up the field. And then whenever the other team would attack, they just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll make it back. And then the defensive midfielders would fill in the wing back positions, and the center backs weren't that pulled out. So I'd say that's more of just game plan. It's like if both your wing backs are up, you have to know who's going to cover that for you. And and they had 3 CDMs, and none of them were helping them cover that. So I wouldn't say necessarily it was Zuma's fault. I mean, granted, you want him to be closer so that doesn't happen. But if you don't have any help to cover the wings because your wing backs are up, then you can't be in 2 places at the same time. So I wouldn't.
Would you rather cover the middle rather than have the wing backs covered? And I think that's the whole point because the middle is straight shot. But if your wing backs, even if people get the ball in the wing, right, you're going to run back in order to defend that. Your wing backs is actually going to come back and cover for you. And at that point, it's simply harder to cross the ball in and find someone rather than go straight through the middle and get a one-on-one with the keeper. I just thought defensively, I thought that decision to cover that wing back spot was not one of the better ones.
No, probably not. Yeah. But speaking of defenders, though, I got a whole lot of love for Tariq Lamptey.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, man, dude is balling out. So I understand why Chelsea let him go. So, I mean, I usually like to just rag on Chelsea for how they handle their youth players, but I totally get it. I mean, you have Reece James there who is playing really well. I don't think he really played that well this last game, but Reece James has shown that, hey, I deserve that spot. And you got Azpilicueta and Reece James, right? So what's Lamptey going to do? Be third string right back? That doesn't make sense at all. In no universe does that make sense. So I wouldn't say it sucks they went to a non-prestigious team like Brighton. I think he could start at a bigger club, honestly. But I got a whole lot of love for him. I mean, that dude was he was marauding down that right-hand side. And I would say the only thing that he needs to work on is holding his line. because there were a few times when he could have caught some people offside. He sees it and he starts going early. So instead of letting them being offside, he starts moving, then plays them onside. That happened, I think, twice in that game. But
That's also teachable, which is a good
yeah,
thing. It's not that natural ability, you know.
yeah, you can tell he's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna catch him. So he's going early, and then, but man, he is good. I mean, he was tormenting them on that right hand side, and even the earlier game, the first game, he was playing really well, and he's attacking well and he's defending well. So dude, yeah, he's definitely he's not gonna stay at Brighton, that's for sure. Like he's too good. Like
Yeah, he's
somebody's
sick.
gonna come for him after. I'm kind of maybe I don't know. Did he just not play enough games at the top level for Chelsea that nobody noticed him, or I don't know
Uh,
how.
He's 19. Like
I didn't
he's
even know he was that young.
yeah, he's 19. He's young. He played really well. It's just I think it was a very unfortunate situation where you have Reece James.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Reece James looked like he's been a man for the last 20 years, really. Both are 19 years old. Both are very young. I think Reece James just has more of that pressing physical presence. So
Reece James is a great defender.
Yeah, and I totally get it. Like I do not fault Chelsea at all. It's like, and I don't know if it was just like they want to send him out on loan. It's like, I'm done with it, which I don't fault either side. It's like that guy needs to be starting. You can't have him on loan in Championship or just low level or something. He needs to be started in the Premier League because
So-
he's good enough to sign the Premier League, and he needs to develop more. He's gonna be so good.
yeah, he's so I'm with you. I've been so impressed by him. I actually love watching him play. He's so attacking minded. He makes sure he gets the ball. He defensively, he's solid. I do think his only drawback is the fact that he's so small.
Mm.
I think that, while it might be working, I do think he might get bullied by some of the bigger offensive players. Like when you're going up against freaking West Ham, and that might be a bit of a challenge for him. But I'm with you. He's just phenomenal to watch. And I
Yeah.
love watching Brighton and Hove Albion. Like they're an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, they scored in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I turned the game on and I was like, okay, let me go get something to eat real quick. I was like, goal? What?
Yeah, they scored 2, right, in the first
Yeah,
few minutes.
2 within 6 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What's your whole lot of love for? You got a whole lot of love for it.
I can go first. I'll try and keep it short and sweet because I know we're probably running out of time. But Gareth Bale, I just think he's uplifted the Spurs fan base so much that he's probably going to have the same effect on the players. And I'm just excited to see him play again. I'm really happy with the decision. I'm glad that Mourinho and Levy pulled out the bag. Gareth Bale's agent is saying that he's so happy to be back at Spurs that it will be an easy decision for him to extend the loan another year.
Wow.
It's just great business, but also it's great as a Spurs fan to, I think I text you guys this, like, it's nice for us to be signing players that we've heard of finally, like, it's just a great feat. We've just done business with Real Madrid for 2 of their players, one of them being one of the most promising left backs potentially in Europe. So yeah, man, I'm going to keep it that short and sweet. Gareth Bale.
All right, I'll go. I know that's been my trash talk for a lot of last season, but the first 2 weeks, I got to give him some love. VAR. There's been
Oh my goodness, yes.
such a vast improvement. I'm just very happy and impressed, and I hope it keeps going this way, and the improvements keep happening. The fact that referee goes to the side to check the cameras, like we've been talking about that. Why aren't they doing this? And they're finally doing it, and it's making so much difference. I mean, you can tell United did not get a single penalty the first week. And
Oh my goodness.
it's been refreshing, right?
So much hate.
VAR has been absolutely. It's been amazing this season, and I'm just very happy about it. I don't think that I really can't say they made one bad call.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I'm completely with you.
I mean, for once, VAR didn't take away a goal; it rewarded a goal that should have been given.
right,
You know?
yeah, and I think it's just been so refreshing for it actually to see it work, because last season from first game it's been disaster, and this season it's whatever improvements they made. Kudos to them, right? It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been
completely
really
agree.
good. All right. Well, definitely. That's definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. Just to remind you, well, if you don't know what's going coming up this weekend, just want to shout out. We got some good games like Leicester City against Man City. We've also got Arsenal versus Liverpool, so there'll be some good football to watch this weekend, and we'll be for sure talking about that next week. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to give us a shout out, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. See ya.
So that, guys.
Have a good one.